Nursing was so special for me, and so many women report the same thing. I think it's tragic that there are detransitioners out there who won't be able to nurse their children because they got their breasts removed.
A lot of young people are willing to completely alter their bodies without really understanding the value of having your body intact. Many of these young people have never even experienced a relationship.
It was the hysterectomy that was the worst thing that I had done. Even before I detransitioned, there was a part of me thinking, actually, I do want children now.
When kids say, this doesn't matter to me because what really matters to me is my gender identity, and I'll do anything to affirm my gender identity, and I don't care about having kids, and I don't care about sexual function, it seems to me that it's extremely naive of the adults in that person's life to go along with that, because we know that kids change their minds. And we for this reason, we simply don't perform medical procedures on young people that have a high incidence of regret. For example, it's very difficult to get an elective hysterectomy, let's say, as a 20-something-year-old. Let's say you have 2 kids and you're 25 and you say, I want it out, I want it gone. You're going to have a hard time finding a doctor to perform that. And that may seem kind of paternalistic, but there is a reason for it, because there's a high incidence of regret, and there's also a lot of medical consequences to getting a hysterectomy. I mean, for one thing, early dementia if you lose your uterus that early in life. Another time that I can think of that we addressed some psychological problem with a physical intervention was with lobotomies. And, lobotomy was a surgery that was performed that severed the corpus callosum. And it was very popular at the time. It was hailed as a kind of miracle cure. And the person who invented the procedure won a Nobel Prize. But we discovered that these procedures did a lot of damage. And, they fell out of favor pretty shortly after they came on the scene. And now we think of it as pretty barbaric.
Even though I didn't want it, I never wanted the full surgery. I was contemplating on going to Thailand to get the complete sexual reassignment surgery, which is what they called it then. Now it's called gender-affirming surgery. So first I was going to New York to get castrated and to get more work, what we call done, more silicone put in my body. I was on Coney Island with 2 trannies that had already had the complete sexual reassignment surgery. And we're laughing and joking and having a good old time. And then they both looked at me and one of them said, don't do it. And I said, don't do what? And he said, all of my life, I thought that if I could just become a woman, I would find peace and joy and happiness. And he said, and now that I am legally and medically a woman, he said, I'm more miserable now than I was my entire life. He said, I think about taking my life every day. And the other one said, I think about taking my life several times a day, every day.
I know, for example, that Jazz Jennings has never had an orgasm. So that is an extraordinary thing for someone who is born male to be 20 and never have had an orgasm. And it looks as though that won't ever be possible for Jazz. So when you realize that most of the young kids who get gender dysphoria will eventually desist, and this is what the evidence tells us, and that most of those who desist will then be lesbian or gay, what we may be doing actually is sterilizing and destroying the sexual function of kids who may have grown up to be gay or lesbian.
You can't even have a boy now pick up a doll without right away some other adult saying, oh, look, he's cute. Is your kid trans? I'm a child of the 50s. This stuff that people are doing now to their kids, that like the stuff with Jazz Jennings, I can't believe how absolutely regressive this is. That's what's so insane about this. They've managed to actually brainwash people to thinking that affirmation is a progressive thing.